Hi, I'm Adam Walsh, host and producer of The Signal. Every day on the show, we talk to people across Newfoundland and Labrador and talk to people in communities about the issues that they are facing. But there's something that you notice when you talk to people. It's that everyone has a backstory and everyone is going through something. And a lot of times, this has to do with perseverance in people's daily lives, day after day. So we figured, hey, let's talk to people one at a time, one-on-one, to hear their stories as they talk about how they work through life. Here's the first episode in the series.
And what a wild ride it's been. We are diving face first back into my next round of cancer treatments. You know, the last 3 years and change has been hectic, bumpy, turbulent, but it's also been focused on the goal. 2019, April 29th, 9:55 Newfoundland time. I was diagnosed with metastatic thyroid cancer while my wife was 33 weeks pregnant. The foot kind of hasn't really come off the gas pedal since then. And, you know, to think how that seems like a couple moments ago, and it also seems like an eternity ago, how much life has happened. And it's been stressful, it's been wild, but, you know, we're going to face it all again now on January 24th and hopefully get a thorough and complete and dominant victory.
What was your life like before April 29th, 2021?
My goodness, it's hard to even recall that kind of sometimes just because I'm just so in the midst of it right now. It's so interesting how I had so much less day-to-day stress. You know, my life was, you know, building a life with my beautiful wife. You know, I'd just taken on a brand new job at work. We just built a house, you know, our dream home that we'd moved into and worked really hard towards. We were, you know, really into the meat of our careers. We had talked about expanding our family. We had, again, a child very much on the way, you know. Priorities at that time very much were cartoons, building blocks, and, you know, starting to put a second crib together. And holy smokes, did I ever steal the thunder on that one. You know, it's not quite how you draw it up on paper, but all of a sudden I flipped not only my life upside down, but our whole family's life upside down with a cancer diagnosis. There's no such thing as a good time for it, but especially not when your missus is 33 weeks pregnant.
So how did you all process that and then start making steps forward or continuing on with life and living?
Yeah, it's interesting looking back on it because some of it is so clear and vivid and I recall it as it just happened. Other parts, I mean, it's almost like I have no recollection of any of it. There's nothing that can prepare you for a doctor looking you dead in the face and talking about, yeah, you have cancer. You see it on the movies, you see it on the TV, you see it on the screen. Why would you ever even dare to put yourself in those shoes? It's too scary to think about, let alone when, like, how can this be happening? I mean, I don't remember what happened the rest of that day. I remember just trying to do something comfortable and familiar and safe. And I remember taking my wife out to get her some of her favorite nachos at a pub downtown. And I was lost, man. You know, anger, frustration, disbelief. If there was a fearful or negative emotion, I had all the above. And all of a sudden, you know, the clock is ticking again. Like, she's very pregnant and we got to, you know, circle some dates here on the calendar because we really got to get ready for this whole situation coming in. And, you know, I was very immediately like snapped myself back into attention and talking to my now immediately assembled team of healthcare professionals like, okay, I don't have my head wrapped around this, but like, here's what you got to know. My wife is pregnant. This is when she's due. This is her induction date. This. Can I just go to the hospital now? What are we doing? And long story short, I ended up having my first cancer surgery on a Monday, and then I wasn't 72 hours out of hospital, and Shanine delivered our beautiful baby Darcy that Saturday night. Not how you draw it up on paper, but, you know, again, there's no pause button in this. It's full steam ahead, very much so.
When you saw Darcy going through what you're going through, but then to see Darcy, what is that moment?
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, there's ugly crying, and then there's this. I mean, I was, whoa. You know, she's such a miracle. No one would, in their right frame of mind, ever think, you know, like if Shanine wasn't already pregnant, I mean, that'd be it. We'd be a family of 3. No one's going to be diagnosed with cancer. Hold on now. Let's pause that, talk about fertility and, you know, bringing another child into this sudden storm of events here. If she wasn't already pregnant, I mean, there's no way that we'd be even considering this, because especially through my line of treatments like fertility and even attempting that is not even possible for multiple years after like all the radioactive medicine has gone out of my body. So I'd be well into my 40s before we could even consider that. And again, just with so much uncertainty, like I think a clear thinking individual would be at best hesitant to entertain, you know, bringing more kids into that situation. I mean, the moment that she came into the world, I mean, I'm an emotional guy anyway, but I remember just like scream crying. I was so happy. I was so proud. She was here and she was safe. And I mean, there's a reason that I never complain about being in pain or any kind of anything. Having watched my beautiful wife bring 2 children into this world and watch she physically and mentally and all of it goes through to carry and deliver a child. I mean, I'm pretty tight-lipped when it comes to pain. She's an absolute hero and a stud for everything that, you know, she's put her body and mind through to, you know, grow our family. But again, I wasn't 72 hours out of hospital, I don't think, and suddenly to be holding our baby. I was actually still on precautions at that time. I had to like not hold anything over 5 pounds. Darcy tipped the scales at 8 pounds 3 ounces, so you know I had to kind of take matters into my own hands and definitely Lion King style her around the room. I was just proud, so happy, so scared, but I was so focused on, you know, the task at hand. Nothing else mattered at that point other than being dad and being there to be a husband and a partner and to take care of everything else.
What is family support for someone like yourself? What does it mean through this?
My goodness, it's easy to face this stuff when there's no options. And Shanine has been so relentlessly supportive and focused on moving things forward and being there for me, and just simple things, her presence, a handhold, a simple thing, a simple gesture, and nothing needs to be said. She's just there. And, you know, we've been through a lot together, and man, I know this isn't what she signed up for, but we're working through it as best we can. I tell her 35 times a day how much I love her and how proud I am of her. And the feeling of being proud of your partner is a very, very special feeling. And man, do I ever have that from my beautiful wife. But the other funny thing now too is that it's really not like there's not much room for debate or discussion when there's no options. We got to face this thing. We got to face it, you know, face first. And you kind of tap into a strength or a directness that you probably wouldn't otherwise have when there's 2 little sets of eyes looking up at you. I have to try to set the best example I can for the kids. And it's funny, like, they do so much for me in that way. looking to dad to set the best example he can, or to be I guess any kind of positive influence or role model. You know, I got to get on with the show here. I wish I could, snap my fingers and make this go away. That's not how it works, but I do have to, kind of control the controllables. I have to very much control what's between the ears, and to know that I have the love and support of the wife and kids behind me. Again, it just makes it so much easier to dive face first into that.
Did you run today?
I run every single day that I possibly can, because I'll tell you, like, how much more you value and appreciate, whether it's running or being able to kiss your wife or hold your kids, when there's days that you can't, and you can't do the things you love, or you can't be with the people you love because you're in a hospital room in isolation for a round of treatments. Or it makes you appreciate and hyper aware of the people and the places and the blessings and the things around you. Because man, oh man, when that's not in your control, it can be a very scary time.
Lots of folks are following your running. Also, like you did triathlon. Why are you going through this in like that kind of a public way? What does it give you, and what do you think it gives other folks?
I think that, let's be honest, there's a lot worse ways I could deal with this. I could list you a million different ways that would be less productive than this, but, I guess I just decided from a very early point in this, like, let's be honest, like, I've no business being in these shoes, no family history. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I don't do any drugs. I've been a competitive amateur athlete my whole life. I'm as shocked now, 3 years into this, as I was when I first found a golf ball in my neck that, I was told was nothing, and I was told was nothing, and then, oh, sorry about that, it's metastatic cancer, and it's spread here, here, and here. Jeez. The point is, I needed something to kind of let it out, man, because I'll tell you, like, I'm really not good at being angry. I'm really not good at being stressed out. So I needed an outlet. We talked about when I was first diagnosed. I remember just eating a lot of pizza that week and just like, eating my feelings. And again, just trying to cling on to things that were familiar and comfortable. But 11 days after I was first diagnosed with cancer, I did a self-supported full-distance Ironman triathlon in Torbay, because I was like, I just need to remind myself that I'm tough. I can put myself through anything, and I'll find a way to cope. And putting yourself through intentional pain reminds you that can be an opportunity for growth too. I remember it was 11 days after diagnosis. It was 2 degrees outside, and I just said, this is the only day on the calendar that we're going to do this. And we got to do it right now. And it's funny because that day just solidified, like, man, whatever comes at me, I'm going to do this. We're going to do this. All my family and friends were there. Damon stayed up way past his bedtime and was there at our makeshift finish line. And that day just fully solidified the fact that we're going to do this as a team. The amount of stress this has caused Shanine, my parents, like, it makes me so sad to think about it, because again, I've just caused so much stress here, but how much opportunity and growth, and how much we've as a collective just bought into turning every imaginable situation into a positive where possible. I've talked openly and honestly about this from day one. I've spoken a lot of like local schools and local community groups. I've worked a lot with Young Adult Cancer Canada. To, increase awareness, openly talk about my diagnosis. We've raised over $17,000 so far, to support other young adults diagnosed with cancer, and, building community around that. Raised over 70 blood donations at the Canadian Blood Services, because right now, I can't donate blood again until I'm 5 years in remission, and that's just so far away right now. So, that's more than I could have ever donated. And just every single opportunity where possible, we've just tried to, shed some light and, control the narrative and choose to be positive. Don't get me wrong, I have a meltdown when I need to and just let it all hang out and, just really just, I don't know, sometimes you just got to have a bad day. But I got to choose to have a lot more positive ones than negative ones. I really wish none of this had happened. I really could have skipped this. But by the same coin, like, I have to accept it. I have to work with it. And I've chosen to be open, honest, and it's helped me also deal with that as well.
Do you get scared?
All the time. It's so funny that the timing of this conversation. I mean, again, like all the healthcare professionals, it's well-intentioned, but all the healthcare professionals that tell me, oh, that's a good cancer to get. Oh, there's nothing to that. Like, man, like, the next person that tells me that, I'm like, I'm going to snap because none of them have been through it. Like, I don't want to be pitied, but man, this is far from straightforward or easy. I, from the get-go, was told that this was nothing. And meanwhile, this is like controlled, like the mental and physical health of not just me, but my whole family for 3.5 years now. And take it back to September of last year. I mean, I was told my cancer was in remission. And 44 hours later, I'm told that my results are read to me wrong, that my cancer is very much not in remission. It's spread. I have a large tumor in my neck, and when they actually got me in for surgery, it turned out to be 6. I mean, I've been burned here a few times. And again, like, obviously no one was intentionally trying to rain on my parade here, but like, this has been, man, quite the wave to ride. I've had plenty of days as the hammer, and I've had plenty of days as the nail. I am going into this right now on January 24th. I mean, I can't just live in fear every day, but I can't exactly say I'm excited about it either. I wish I could, just face it right now, but we're stuck in waiting. And I mean, all I can do is, control my thoughts as best I can, hug the wife and the kids as close as I can and tell them how much I love them every day. And I mean, I'm going to control the controllables, and we're going to hope for the very, very, very best, because it's a very vulnerable spot to be in right now.
So how you look at life compared to before, everything you've just said, is there a different way you're looking at it now that you can pinpoint?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I look at it differently, because, I mean, I've always been a pretty, how I'm thinking. I'm not shy. I communicate my feelings. I've been pretty upbeat. But it's so funny when, again, like, there's been times where I haven't been able to do the things I love, or I haven't been able to be with the people I love because I'm in hospital or in isolation treatment, or all kinds of different reasons. When you're not in control of your own body, mind, or life, it makes you realize like how precious and how valuable that is. I mean, time is this isn't a dress rehearsal. We don't get it back. But, one thing that I definitely have said in passing, with this stuff is that, today is always the day. I call up my buddies and just tell them I love them. I call up my mom and dad. I don't have anything to talk about. I just want to hear from them. And I want them to hear from me. I don't care if it's big, small. I mean, again, I just send messages to my buddies and just tell them I love them and how much I appreciate them. And, I said to you yesterday, like, I carry a lot of guilt with this stuff sometimes. I can't believe how much I've put my family, my friends through. And, that, the worry and the stress that I've caused them. But man, like, how much I value them and how much I appreciate them now more than ever. And what I wouldn't do to get some great news next month and just to be able to, like, let my hair down for a second and just celebrate, man, because it's been a long and stressful road. And again, like the docs have been very upfront and brutally honest about this. There's no other way. Like this is very likely to come back. I'll be very closely followed for the rest of my life. I'm a human lab experiment right now. But today's the day, man. And if we get the good news next month, my goodness. The big parkway down here right out front of the office, you'll see the big, the Santa Claus parade will have nothing on what the Dawe family is going to put up and down the city. I am, my goodness, what I wouldn't do to just celebrate some great news, because it's been a really hard couple of years, man. But wherever it goes, we're going to go there together, and we're going to work through it.
Mike Dawe, I wish you good health, and I thank you for coming in and sharing this.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to share the good news with you, because we're going to do this.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for having me.